My name is Rose Anton. I'm with CCPace, and CCPace is a company that has a strong lean agile practice and works with coaching and teaching and development in the industry. My background is 26 plus years in the agile consulting industry. I've worked with different methodologies over those years and have really had the pleasure of watching agile evolve into what it is today.
What's most on your mind? What do you find most intriguing, interesting, worrisome, encouraging?
I would say two main things. The first and foremost right now is blended agile. And what I've been finding over the years is when you go into a company to help them find a solution, and generally you want to look at what the right solution and methodology is. As agile has evolved, many larger corporations have huge difficulties in flipping a switch. And that's based on many things because they're dealing with internal processes that are legacy processes, let alone legacy systems, as well as working with external companies that also have their own legacy processes and systems. And if both of those companies, the internal and external, have joint processes, it's next to impossible to go in and flip a switch. So what I found is if we go in with a form of blended agile, which, let me be clear, does not negate the pure form of agile, it's a road to get there. So if we go in with a blended form of agile, we're usually very successful in getting them to that final agile solution.
So blended agile, interesting concept. What kinds of things do you either blend in or blend out? I don't know.
That's an excellent question, and here's where it gets a little tricky, because even though you want to try to avoid customizing agile, because you still want to stick with the agile core principles and knowing you want to get to the final pure form of agile, different companies are at different levels with what their legacy processes are. So if it's a large corporation where these processes are really ingrained, you may need to take a different approach from different levels. For example, what can be instituted at a corporate or portfolio level versus what can be instituted at a team level. So you may at one company have a list of consistencies that you can take across teams and variables for each team in the process they're using and the techniques of agile versus what's happening at the higher level of the portfolio and then the corporate level for corporate agile leadership. So it does have to get slightly customized and vary per company, but in the end what you're looking for is to utilize some of the best agile practices that will work today within that company to show them some very quick wins using agile to get them excited and energized about agile versus coming in and preaching what agile will do for them. Let them see the results and then they can energize within themselves. And then it's a progression to take them into the next level of agile until you get them to the purer form to where the company is excited and instead of, I don't want to go to that team, that's new, that's scary, what's my role, how will I play in that team? It's, I want to join that team. So the first one would be blended and the second one is distributed agile.
Okay.
I am a big believer in distributed agile. I have seen distributed work incredibly to where the final solution is delivered with higher quality, quicker turnaround, huge customer satisfaction, as well as huge team satisfaction. But what I hear a lot of in the industry is, distributed is difficult to do. In Agile, everyone needs to be co-located, so distributed may not work. And it scares people because of these myths around distributed. And just as I explained in blended, if you start it right and set it up right, it will work. And distributed is the same way. So where a project in an older methodology, say, may have taken 8 months, and maybe Agile, just from a speed perspective, cuts it down to, say, 7 months, and I'm pulling numbers out of the air here, but to just give an example, distributed can speed it up to 6 months.
Okay.
But it's important that it's not just the speed you're getting, that you're getting the quality and the overall end customer solution. So if you're going down a distributed path, the way you set up your distributed team, the diversity, and I don't mean cultural diversity, but diversity of the background skill sets of those team and the different levels of experience makes a huge difference.
So this idea, for both of your topics, you talked about the way you start. The way you start from a blended or a what works perspective, introducing Agile, the way you start from a distributed perspective. You know, what's a good specific one or two kind of ways to start that you've seen, time and time again are neglected or just not intuitively thought about?
So oddly enough, the first two are not unique to Agile. So the first one I'm going to say the way communication is set up, and that would be the same back in 1970 or 75 with some of the older methodologies as it is today, and also the resources that are on the team. If you begin any team, any project without the right skill set levels and experience levels, and I'm not saying each project has to begin with someone who has so many years of experience, there needs to be a healthy mix. It really doesn't matter if it's an Agile team or a waterfall team. If the right skill sets aren't there, you're already operating at a higher risk level. And in Agile, I sometimes will hear, well, we don't want to look at offshore because, the quality level may not be there. Well, it's not the quality level of offshore, it's the quality level of the resource. So whether that resource is here or in Mexico or London or, wherever, really doesn't matter as long as the communication is set up correctly and the methods that you're going to go forward with and the techniques. So the skill set level matters no matter what. The communication is the second thing, and both are of equal importance. I can't say one's more important than the other. And from the communication aspect, setting up the way the team is going to work together, collaborate together, communicate, hand off from one time zone to the next, and how that team will interact with each other makes all the difference in the world.
Great. All right, thank you. Thank you again for being
My
here
pleasure.
at Agile StoryCorps. Have a great day, Rose.
Thank you so much.